are back, making all things new. It's a new week. It's a new day.
New day.
We're pretty excited.
New cup of coffee.
New cup of coffee. I already had my Dr. Pepper cream soda today.
Oh, was it one of the ones I gave you?
It was not.
Or did you already motor through those?
I have saved those. They're bottles, so they're more valuable. So you got to just pace yourself.
I didn't know I gave you such a valuable gift.
It was. Well, this is exciting days. This is our third sermon recap.
So now we know what we're
doing. And
do we?
No, not a chance.
That may be an overstatement. I don't want to just
that's a promise we
overpromise,
cannot
underdeliver.
on.
Because last week was also your birthday, which was super exciting. We had
It
balloons.
was. What I'm excited about is there are still balloons in the room.
There are balloons. I feel like if we do or say something great, maybe they'll come flying in frame again.
Confetti poppers, I would hope. Bad audio issue there, maybe, but it'll be great.
Yeah, we do. Today is an exciting day, just in the world, though. I don't know if you know, it is National Pepperoni Pizza Day.
Oh wow! You know, we had
so happy National Pepperoni Pizza Day, everyone.
We have some pepperoni pizza left over from last night's new members class. So
important theological question. We're just going to dive right in.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is it safe to say that every church in America has leftover pizza somewhere on the premises on a Monday morning?
I think if there are teenagers, the percentage chance goes way high.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say so. I wonder what the record is for how long the pizza, if they could date it, that would be a really good competition. If everybody would just say, what's the oldest pizza in your fridge?
Yeah.
Because people are like, well, I don't know. I mean, what is the time limit? It's hard to know.
It is hard to know.
I go with a 3-day time limit. If we order on a Friday, Monday is pretty much it's done.
I'm pretty much 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
24 hours, and it has to be warmed up in the oven, not the microwave.
I'm not that critical about it.
It's okay.
One time, this is not valuable information at all, but there was one time where the church I was serving at in Nashville, the refrigerator broke, and when it broke, it actually heated everything inside of it. But it was the first time that it had been cleaned in a really long time. So the earliest date on some things, there was ketchup from the 90s. And this was in 2012.
Do you see my eyes watering? I told you last week when I get grossed out, my eyes water. They're already watering just thinking about what was in there.
To think about 1995 ketchup in 2012 is pretty gross.
So, at my church in Georgia, we used to try to do something fun and interesting every week with the video announcements for the services. And one of the weeks I said, hey, I have an idea. We're going to act like we're having a cooking demonstration, but we're going to use whatever's in the church refrigerator.
That's terrifying.
It didn't go great. There was some gagging involved.
Yeah.
And our student pastor, because you know how crazy student pastors are.
They can be.
Personally know this.
Yes.
Actually ate what the guy put together over the course of the video. And I mean, it was
terrible.
Hideous.
That's awful. Yeah. That's really sad. For that guy.
He was happy to do it. That's what I'm saying. They're crazy.
That's extra sad.
So I'm sorry. Let's get back on topic.
No,
why
fine.
we're really here, guys. Today is National Pepperoni Pizza Day.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that is why.
So apparently 98% of people agree that pizza is the go-to food. You're not sure what to eat. You're having a gathering, whatever.
Yeah.
Pizza is the go-to food.
We're really tired at this point. We can't make food on Thursday, and we usually go either Thursday or Friday is a pizza food.
I saw a meme the other day that said, I used to think that my parents had pizza and maybe night on Fridays to be fun, but now I just know it's because they were tired.
They have no energy left.
Just order the pizza.
The last energy you have is just to dial that phone number.
Yeah, now you can do it online, which is one of my favorite things.
I don't trust it.
Oh, trust the process.
I just don't trust it.
Domino's has it down.
Yeah, they do.
I'll go ahead and give a little shout out. Again, sponsor us.
Yeah, we're looking for sponsors.
We're just, we get a little bigger every week. We've got to try to keep up. Another great fact, apparently 3% of people surveyed in America said that they would rather eat a pizza than have a significant other.
Well, I think
maybe they caught them on the bad day.
Those two things actually kind of make sense.
I mean, if you're coming off of a breakup, I'd probably be like, yeah, just give me the pizza.
Right. Maybe 3% of people are having a really hard time out there with people. But Yeah, I don't know. No, I mean, a Mighty Meaty from Mellow Mushroom. I mean,
Mellows. So, what's your favorite pizza in the area?
That's
We're
probably
going for another sponsorship.
Probably that one. That's way up there. I really like Jet's Pizza.
I still haven't had it.
Well, it closed, so that's going to be hard to
get.
I
will not be having that.
So I don't know if all of them are closed, but one of them did.
I'm a big fan of San Peggio's. I'm getting very
I like
into
San Peggio's. San Peggio's is good. Shout out Valley
And their
Dale.
Supreme is my favorite.
Okay.
The Supreme Pizza. I'm the only one in my family who likes the Supreme Pizza,
Yeah.
so I have to kind of...
I like Slice. Slice is good. It's a good place. Good vibe out there, too. I would say, the Mighty Meaty from... If I'm thinking, I really want... the best pizza I can find, Mighty Meaty at Mellow Mushroom. Okay. It's just good.
Last super important, super interesting fact about pepperoni pizza, or about pizza in general. About a quarter of the people they surveyed said they can eat a whole pizza on their own. Now, they don't specify what size that pizza is.
Yeah.
But let's say...
I could eat a whole thin crust pizza on my own.
Like a large?
Yeah.
Really?
It's really thin.
Yeah.
I don't know what the equivalency is, but I try not to. But
I think it's probably a good thing to try not to do.
But I mean, sometimes you're just hungry,
yes.
So you do it.
All right, I have more pizza facts, but I feel like we maybe should move on.
Let's come back to those. Maybe we do have a
different
meeting
topic.
in a little bit.
My phone is blowing up, by the way. I know I should be a professional and not acknowledge it, but
it's okay. There's probably a lot of pizza fact people.
A lot of people are like, "Hey, we're watching right now, even though you're not live."
Yeah, you know who it's not.
They're watching.
It's not that 3% of people who don't want any significant others. They just want a pizza.
Yes.
Maybe it's Domino's reaching out with a sponsorship offer.
Maybe so. Here, Pierce, will you field my calls while we're on the recap?
I guess we do need to remind ourselves that we are not live right now. So if Domino's, that means your phone literally is listening to you.
We really are.
The Domino's
being watched
app
and listened
is
to.
Paying attention.
So that does happen.
It does. No, 100% because have tested it and it happens. Also, recently, my Echo device that I bought from Amazon is routinely just on. When I look over, the circles are going, and nobody said its name, and I don't care for that. But
need to be careful with that. We have been shopping for new carpet for the upstairs in our house, and I have not searched anything online because what do I search? I don't even know. Carpet. We've gone to a couple of stores and looked at things, and I'm getting information about carpet.
It's because they know where you go.
So
they do. It's like when you walk into Home Depot and the first suggested app is Home Depot.
Right.
That's weird. I've been looking for a car. We're going to have to replace a car eventually. It's like a race to see. Well,
my condolences, by the way, because that is one of my least favorite things in the world to do.
It's a painful thing. But every ad now on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else is car dealers. So
we had to shop for 2 teenagers within a couple of years, and so yes, I still get the, hey, still looking for blah blah blah. Nope, I'm not.
Fun fact is my kids are 22 months apart, but for the last probably 3 or 4 years, I thought they were 18 months apart. So when I said that last night, as I was introducing myself to our new members class, my wife corrected me, and I've learned a lot about our children in the last 24
hours. So good.
Hours.
I feel you guys are gonna be closer for this.
I think we will. I think clarifying some things. So I apologize for lying to people when I told them that it was 18 months.
Yes.
But it is apparently 22 months.
Okay, 22 months apart.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That is good.
So you'll be doing some car shopping in close proximity as well.
We will be. Yeah, probably not doing that.
Okay.
Probably just sharing some cars.
Okay.
That'll work out well.
Yes. There will be zero arguments about that.
There will be no issues at all.
All right. So, seriously this time.
Yeah, here we go.
Moving on to the sermon from yesterday.
Sure.
Enjoyed another great one from Ephesians.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add? Did you run out at any time, or some things you wanted to add? I've got some things I know that stood out to me.
Yeah, I think, the clock, I keep running up against the clock a little bit, which is my fault. But we did talk. Probably the biggest thing that I would love to explore a little more is just what does it mean and how do you practically live this out as the church? And particularly at the church at Old Town. We're not going to worry about anybody else's church, but just our church. And how do we keep Jesus as the center, but also do things in the life of the church and make all of that happen? And that would be one area where I think we can investigate deeper and really just continue to think about it. It's not necessarily we have all the answers I think it's a progressive thing as we encounter different stages. You know, the church has already moved through so many quick stages, but just keeping that focus on Jesus and making sure that, like, if somebody comes to the church, that their takeaway is those people really like Jesus.
I was comfortable. They were happy I was there, and they love Jesus. And
they talk about it. You know, and I think that is really helpful. Now, it's easy in this series in the service because we're talking about Ephesians and a lot of it. It'll be important for us to keep that up as we go into things. The Christmas series will also be pretty easy, so that'll be exciting. So,
I guess we like easy. That's
low hanging fruit to talk about Jesus at Christmas.
Right. But let's not gloss over that. That is a good season.
Yeah.
People are a lot of times more receptive because Christmas is just celebrated culturally, even if you are not a religious person or a believer. Right. So that is something to think ahead about. You know, if you've got people that you wanted to invite to church, any Sunday is great. We'd love to have them.
That's right.
But also be thinking and praying now about maybe.
Oh, yeah. People are much more receptive around that Christmas season. And we want to make it fun. We really do want to lean into that theme and make it, you know, as winter wonderlandy as we can. That'll be great. But just having a good time. It's just such a season of celebration, you know, with one of our values being joy. Christmas just lines right up with that. It's a celebration, and we want to make it that feel, and it just has a lot of really important teaching. I mean, the fact that Jesus came and that this was something that had been promised forever. We'll talk about that this Sunday. We're talking about mystery this next Sunday. So if you like a good mystery, that'll be.
I love a good mystery.
Well, we're going to solve a big mystery. So,
love a good mystery.
But it's going to be great. But yeah, I think that's that idea of keeping Jesus as the center, and not just kind of go in default mode. You know, not running the church blueprint where we do these things, but making sure that even if we do upward basketball, or even if we do an outing to a paintball park with our students, Jesus is still the center. He's the reason we're gathered. He's the reason the church exists, and just building on that.
Yeah. So. Tell me more about the church is the expression of reconciliation.
Yeah,
I liked that even thinking back on our conversation last week about what it is to be mindful of what you say and do and who you represent.
Absolutely. Well, we're told that we have the ministry of reconciliation, and that means really that reconciliation is helping people be reconciled to God. It doesn't seem to have that note of individuals, but when you're reconciled to God, you do begin to reconcile with other people. I do believe that the church is supposed to be the picture of unity, and if you can't do it there, it's going to be hard to do anywhere else. And so this idea that we are those who are the picture or the image or the model or the symbol of reconciliation, in terms of just people still, like I said before, people may still have conflicts, you still have different ideas, you have different backgrounds, but there's a unity by the mission, by the character. I mean, we're all being conformed to the image of Jesus. So we all need to begin looking, at least spiritually, like Jesus. And so there's that commonality that exists. And unfortunately, churches just often get sidetracked by so many elements because Jesus isn't at the center. When things like place or personalities or programs or even the people at the church become the center of the church, that's when things begin to break down. We talk in our new members class about the lower room. And so if the mission, we want to stay in the upper room, focused on the specific mission of the church, but also just the nature of the church. But when you focus on those other things, that's where conflict begins to happen, because the priorities get sideways.
Well, and so much of that is the lower room mentality is based on preference.
That's right.
And it is a bit, everybody at some point in their lives struggles with that, off and on, I'd say. But there is a point where you just have to say, it's okay. My thoughts on this non-eternal matter shouldn't come between me and my brother or sister. I liked also what you said about that peace doesn't mean that there's an absence of conflict. It means that you desire for the conflict to be resolved quickly and in a godly manner.
That's right.
You said something along those lines. And I love that, because there are always going to be differences of opinion.
That's right.
There are always going to be conversations that need to be had, but not living in that. And even worse, you mentioned this as well, thriving.
Right.
There's some people that you encounter that thrive on that drama and that conflict. And it's important for us as Christians to know that that is not God's desire for us.
That's right. Yeah, that's an imbalance. That there's something broken in that, and the goal is that we would desire for those things to be fixed, and at least to do our part to fix those things. There is also the reality that some people, if you have an interpersonal relationship or interpersonal conflict, a lot of times the Christian calling is it's for you to do your part. You can't manage their response, you can't manage their personality, and so you can't own that. You can't say, well, I tried to fix it, but it's just still there. Well, no, you just step into it and do what you can do.
Right.
And that I think that's the key. And then just be secure in that you have tried. You've done your best. You have exhibited Christ's character. You've been kind. You have laid down maybe your preferences, and you sought resolution, and you do your best on that.
I remember pretty specifically a point in my life where I came to like a full, clear, almost immediate understanding that regardless of what someone else does to me, I'm still responsible for what I think about them in my heart and the way I respond to them. And that was just, I guess that may make sense to a lot of people, but for me, that was kind of like, well, yes, I'm willing to work with people, but if they continue to be, to do me wrong, to be hurtful, whatever, then like the gloves are off kind of thing. I'm still responsible.
That's right. Well, and I think at the other side of this, people took this idea where Jesus talks about, turning the other cheek, and there are some people who enter into these difficult relationships and just keep going because they think that they have to keep turning the other cheek. And I don't think God has any desire for us to stay in an incredibly healthy relationships like friendships and all of this where you may just need to step back. And I mean, Proverbs talks a lot about how difficult it is to be around quarrelsome people, how to be around fools or people who are rejecting God's wisdom. That actually is destructive to the soul, and there comes a point where sometimes you just have to walk away.
Right.
I think a lot of that drama gets escalated because you think, well, I have to keep going, or I know they're not very nice, but I'm trying to minister to them. Like sometimes it's just wise to take a step back and say, hey, this isn't working.
And it doesn't always work this way, but it also could be the kindest and most helpful thing you can do for that person.
Yeah.
For them to see that there comes a point for some people that.
Absolutely. Yeah. At some point, you just have to speak some truth, in love, but you also have to do what's best for you. And I think that can be very important.
I liked too, you started out with the concepts of the peace that comes from Christ is, first of all, not negotiated peace.
Yeah.
Which was just kind of a different way I had heard someone talk about that before.
Yeah, I think that concept, I do believe that we really like to, that's what legalism says. Legalism says you have negotiated peace with God because you behaved in a way that forced him. You put him in your debt, really. You said, well, God, I was really good. I didn't do this, or this, and so, of course, I have peace with you. Well, no, because what he would turn around and say, you may not have done that, but you did, and he just like unrolls a scroll down the road, and he said, well, you did all of these things, and just this first one that happened is what broke everything, and that's why I'm doing all of the work to get you back to me. And I think that's good. It's good. It reminds us not only that we didn't work for it, but we don't have to work for the peace. You know, to maintain the peace, it doesn't come with a bunch of rules, and it's not that way. Now, I think there is a level of responsibility and calling to be obedient, and throughout this book of Ephesians, you keep feeling this tension of, okay, I have this grace that's freely given, but what is my responsibility towards obedience then? Do I have to obey? Do I not? And I feel that tension because I don't want to present too much grace to the point where people say, I can do whatever I want, but you don't want to prevent people from saying, well, I don't know that I have that. I still have this struggle or that struggle, and that's where I think we're always wrestling with that tension, and it's good. But I think we have that responsibility towards obedience, and we obey out of gratitude and also trust. I don't know that we talk a lot about trust and obedience. Like, we trust God that He has asked us to do the right thing for us.
Right.
A lot of times obedience is begrudging obedience. It's like, well, I won't do gluttony just because He says not to, but I would rather do the gluttony. It's the best. Gluttony is the safe sin, by the
Sloth.
way. Yeah. Oh, sloth. Yeah.
Let's don't get into that.
Yeah,
Let's don't get into all
we
that.
won't visit in there.
So it's interesting. It makes me think about something that I've thought about in the past, and that is that people look at, like you said, obedience begrudgingly. God just doesn't want me to have fun. You know, those are
Right.
things that you kind of hear stereotypically. And to me, it's interesting when you look at the 10 Commandments. They just make sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good idea, whether you believe in God or not, to not kill someone.
I'm
Is to
100% on board with that. Yes, let's.
So, bringing that back around to what you were just saying, though, if you truly love God
Yeah.
and have experienced the gift of salvation through Jesus Christ, you're probably not going to be at peace if you are living in disobedience.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
one and the same. And it's not a punishment for your disobedience, that absence of peace. It's just a natural result of when you love someone and have a relationship with them and you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
There should be
That's right.
a lack of peace.
Yeah, 100%. I think there are a lot of people who feel like God has moved further away from them, when in reality, your behavior has led you, your lack of obedience and your lack of trust has led you away from feeling God's presence in your life. It's hard to pray when you are in a pattern of sin. It's hard to go to a worship service and feel God's work in your life.
It's a domino effect.
That's right.
And then it's a separation.
And then you like double down on it. You're like, well, okay, well, in that case, I'll not go to worship. Well, now it's worse because
Right.
you have pulled yourself out of Christian community, and it spirals, and it takes God to do something then to help pull you back
Right.
in. But the beauty is, God's not sitting there saying He's going to get what He deserves. He genuinely desires for you to enter back into that
He longs for
closeness
it, right?
and that relationship.
It reminds me of one of the lines that we sang yesterday that I love the visual of, and it's in the darkness we were waiting,
Yeah.
without hope, without light, and He came running to us.
Yeah.
He's not. It's the old prodigal son. When the father had every reason in the world to.
That's
well,
right.
here he comes. Now that he's in a bad place, he's coming back home. No, he ran to him,
Yeah.
and he longed to reconcile with him.
Such an important understanding of who God is, that He does desire that relationship. And if He didn't desire the relationship, we wouldn't have Jesus. We wouldn't have God's Word. There's so many indicators that He desires a relationship with us, and I understand that. And I think one of the reasons, just in talking to people who, a lot of people are coming to the church at Old Town who have been out of church for a long time, and a lot of that is because they've been hurt by the church. And so this brings us back to that idea that it really needs to be a place where we see reconciliation and peace. But when it's not, the damage, it's not like a bad workplace where you're just frustrated at work. It has a spiritual component that reverberates, I think, in people's lives, where they take what they see in the church and they apply that to their understanding of God, or at least what it means
All
to follow God.
Christians,
Yeah, all Christians are like this. All churches are like this. And certainly Christians are still flawed, and churches are organizations made of people, and there are bad decisions made at certain times. Honestly, that's one of the fears of a pastor is that I'll do or say something that I don't even know, but it turns people away, and it affects people in a negative way, and maybe reinforces a stereotype or whatever.
Right.
But when I talk to people about that, and they say, well, the church was just so broken that I was at, or I was hurt by that, that is, it just affects so many things, and there's so many layers you have to build back. And what I love about Old Town is that it is a chance, kind of a fresh start. You know, there's not a culture that already existed. We're building that. We're making it to where if you're new, you can kind of explore things and get a new sense, a renewed hope in the church. I hope. So
it's kind of interesting to think about that. One of our biggest missions may be to help rebuild the trust that someone else broke with them.
That's right.
You know, so we weren't even a part of whatever happened to them, but then as a church in that community with those people, what can we be doing? And that goes back to the application that you talked about at the very beginning. How do you see the church at Old Town being that trust builder for people and being a welcoming place and being a place of peace and reconciliation?
Well, I think you hit it on the head when we said a lot of it's just laying down our preferences. I mean, all of us have and it's fine. We're wired for certain preferences. We're wired for certain elements of self-interest and all of that. But we lay that down for the good of the community and really for the good of the mission too. So it's both and. We lay that down for one another because that's what love is. You know, real biblical love is sacrificial love. And one of the things you sacrifice is your personal preference. It's your, you love this idea, but it's okay if it doesn't happen because you want what's best for the other person, but also what's best for the mission. And the mission ultimately is to help people grow like Jesus and to introduce people to Jesus. And if anything distracts from that, then we're in trouble.
Right.
But also just in our daily lives, I don't know. This is why I talk about the idea of shepherding. Last night we talked about at our new members class. We talked, and I said, there's probably two ways to build a church. One is kind of an institutional way where we create something and we make it attractive for people. Another way, though, is to really emphasize that pastoral approach where every member understands that they are a shepherd for their community. And I do believe that the depth of that type of church goes and reaches communities. And when people see you just being kind to the cashier at Dollar Tree and they know that you're a Christian or they know that you go there. Not that you say, I have been kind to you because I go to the church at Old Town services at 9 and 10:30.
Here's a business card.
Yeah, right. Here's a card. Please come. No, I mean, we take the church to people and eventually maybe you build that relationship and maybe they never come to the church.
Right.
Maybe they go to another church. But whatever it is, we have represented Christ and the peace of Christ to those people.
Right.
There are churches that talk about passing the peace. We call it greeting time, and people stop doing it because it's really awkward. But because you're 60% introverts are like, please do not shake my hand. You can see souls just dropping when you say, all right, guys, we're going to do a little handshake time.
Make sure you know the secret handshake before you approach anyone, just to put the nerves really off.
Yeah. Remember the church handshake. But then the extroverts are like just jazzed for it. They're like, all right, I finally get to talk to all the people around me. That's why we don't do it. But it is a beautiful thing to be able to take the peace of Christ, and it's a mission. It's a calling. It's not just being nice. It's not just being friendly. It is a calling that we have to carry that forward. So
yeah, we talked about that a little bit in life group yesterday. That you're constantly planting seeds. A lot of that you'll never see any fruit whatsoever. But you never know when you're saying the thing that encourages the person that is at a point in their life that gets them thinking, that makes them think about going back to church, that makes them think about having a conversation with a friend that they trust about what's going on. So opportunities throughout the day, we just have to be mindful of them and
that's it.
And bold.
We're agents of peace. We're agents of reconciliation. And you don't know. I do believe that every interaction we have with anybody throughout the day, this is how I live my life, is ordained by God for that to happen. So the checkout person, the waitress, the person I see in the street, the person that drops by the office, like that is why it's happening, is because God desired for it to happen. And in that, you have a calling to represent Jesus well, to care well. And if we can live like that, and if we can see that responsibility. Now, sometimes you're just really tired and you're like, okay,
right,
all right, more people. But it's good, and it's a blessing, and it's a calling. And I think if we can live that way out as a church, also just as Christians, we'll see a lot of fruit from that. So
maybe so. All right. I have no idea what time it is. I have a feeling we've
hit our limit, I believe. But thank you. If you're still with us, we are really grateful.
But really quickly,
yeah.
the things I need to know.
Oh, yeah.
First of all,
really quickly.
How exciting are these?
These are exciting.
Brody.
Did they?
He missed it.
Try
one more time.
Did they come with a pouch?
I don't think so, but I think
they do.
Maybe
they do fold up. This will be great. That's probably a terrible sound on the microphone.
I didn't look all the way through the box. They may come with a pouch.
Yeah. So these are what we're going to be giving away at our Buck Creek Festival.
Buck Creek Festival, which takes place when and where?
Friday night and Saturday of this week.
I'm guessing at Buck Creek.
At Buck Creek, yeah. Particularly the park part there.
Okay.
I guess it's a long creek.
Guys.
But yeah, it's going to be great. There's ducks that they release. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah. They go.
Ducks.
I want to see that.
It's going to be great. Not real ducks, although that would
Little
be great
rubber
too.
ducks. They put them in the river.
I'd like to watch that.
Isn't that cute?
They do catch all of them. They don't just go down to the ocean. And then we're giving this away.
It's environmentally friendly.
It is an environmentally friendly place. Don't drink the water, though. Then
are these free with purchase, or is this just an absolute free gift?
So this is a free gift. We're going to give these to families who come by. We're going to have a booth out there, and we want to just connect with families. That will be awesome. We're also getting ready for Fall Fest. Fall Fest is our big, it's going to be a big outreach event. It's kind of our declaring to the community that we are here and we are here for you. So I don't know how many of the community is coming.
We've had a soft launch. We've had an official launch. Would you say this is our...
This is like our announcement to the community that we care.
We have launched.
Yeah. Or it's like, I don't even know at this point. But yeah, it is. Okay. Whatever that is, it is our, hey, we like this place.
We're anticipating big numbers.
We are. We're collecting candy for those big numbers.
And you said the newsletter is the best place for people to get information on that, correct?
Yes.
About signing up to help?
Yeah, that came out this morning.
Okay.
Yesterday morning if you're watching this on Tuesday.
Well, but moderately hot off the presses.
We'll put it on the website too. We'll have a little meeting on that. And then you'll have places to sign up. What we're doing is you have an opportunity to sign up for a lead team, but also different areas of that. So whether it's concessions, whether it's trunk or treat, all of that is just listed out on the form.
And this is an all hands on deck.
It really is.
If you're listening to this, or you get the newsletter, or you hear about it in church, yes, we need your help.
10,000 people go to the Buck Creek Festival. I'm shooting for 11.
They do have the rubber ducks, though.
Really. Yeah,
but
we
will have
no rubber ducks.
I think we lose about 1,000 people.
But we have inflatables coming, trunk or treat, all kinds of. It's a big event.
We need candy. We need you to sign up to help. Read your newsletter. Contact Josh if you have questions.
That's right. It's going to be great. Contact Ashley if you have questions. That'll be perfect. And then the last thing is we are moving to 2 services.
Yes.
Beginning on October 3rd.
Yes.
It's time. It was full again this week.
It was.
People had to sit in the front row, and they always walk down like they're hostages. And okay, I'm in the front. But that is going to be really great. And we'll have life groups both hours, all kinds of stuff.
And those be 9 and 10:30.
Yeah, details will be on the website when they're all nailed down. We're still making sure we have a good balance. So that's the key. So a little behind the scenes. We don't want 25 and
so say if you're not sure which service you want to attend, let's just say you want to go to 9.
9 would be great. We do need people to say, I'd like to go to the 9 o'clock.
We could even potentially offer you. Potentially. I don't know. We'll see how the Buck Creek Festival goes.
It's definitely not true, but we're going to... If 10,000 people come out, I can promise we did not get 10,000
That's why you use the word potentially, though.
Potentially, yeah. That's right.
The Buck Creek Festival could be a wash. You never know.
Potential. It's going to be really good. A wash because it's a creek. All right.
We have to go. We have to go to a meeting.
We do. We're going to go meet.
Fun.
It has been fun.
Almost as fun as the birthday. Don't forget it's National Pepperoni Pizza Day. Everybody, please.
We'll see how the day goes.
A slice of pizza.
I may be a pepperoni kind of day. So.
All right.
We'll see you later. Thanks.
Bye.